Hey folks, welcome back to Biscuits Total War, and first of all, thank you for stopping by and checking out this video. In today's episode, we've got some more great Rome Total War action. This is going to be a great 3 versus 3 on the grassy flatlands, 31k rolls, with some great clan members taking part in this battle. So, on the last video that I put up, a couple of people mentioned about using Britons, using the Britannia Faction. So this is a video, of course, where I'm going to be using the Britannia Faction. Now, for you guys who haven't played 31k before or Rome Total War, when using the Britannians or the Britons, you really want to try and use them to play aggressively and attack. So I really like to play aggressively when I play Rome Total War, so hence why I like using this faction as and when I can. When you do use this faction, the great partnership is the Britons and the Greeks. The Greeks have got some great infantry, really strong infantry. Unfortunately, the Britons don't have the great infantry, but they've got some great charioteers. So the combination of the Greeks and the Britons working together really is a match made in heaven. So I'll quickly outline my builds and let you know exactly what I've gone for. I've got 5 Barbarian Warlords chariots. These are some of the best chariots that you can get in Rome Total War. I've got 5 of those. And I've also got 1 Chariot Archer, which is pretty damn good. Good for skirmishing, but also they're good for scaring the enemy. Then I've also got 4 Chosen Swordsmen. Here we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the reason why I've gone for those is just to try and use them as a stalling force, because I appreciate our flank is going to be pretty weak when it comes to infantry engagement. If I can use these 4 guys here, I might be able to just stall some of the urbans from breaking through. I've also got a druid. Now the druid here is pretty useless when it comes to combat, but what they will do, they have a special ability where it can boost the morale of your units and also your allied units. So I want to try and use that druid, sticking behind our lines, and just make sure our morale is at tip-top position. And then lastly, I have got 9 9 head hurlers. Now these guys are they're pretty damn good. If you look really closely, you can see they've got these little heads which are attached to their waists. What they do, they get into a close proximity of the enemy and they will chuck their heads at the enemy. Now it sounds a bit bizarre that these heads are basically like coconuts, but they're effectively a Rome Total War version of throwing a grenade at the enemy. Unfortunately, the heads don't explode, but what they will do, they will penetrate armor, they will destroy pikes, and they will also drop the morale of the enemy. So they're really good. So what I want to try and do is get these guys behind the Spartans, and when we go to attack, I'm just going to be chucking my heads at the enemy, try and give the Spartans a bit of a heads up. Excuse the pun there, that was not intentional. Let's have a look here. We've also got TURK. TURK is Terrible Turk from the Brotherhood clan. He has brought the Spartans, and they consist of 14 gold Spartans, so they're going to be pretty tip-top infantry units to use, and they're great at killing urbans. And then he's got a little bit of money left, so he's going for 6 standard regular Greek archers, and they probably have gold attack or silver attack. Again, there's not much money left over in the kitty once you've bought 14 gold Spartans. And last but not least, we've got Antikidos, also known as Babu. He has gone for the Seleucids, and he has gone for 5 cataphracts. He's also gone for 1 charioteer, and the rest pikemen. Now of these pikemen, you can't quite see because I've slightly paused the video, but he's gone for 13 silver shield pikemen, and he's also gone for 1 standard pikeman unit. And if you look carefully, these are the guys with the gold helmets. He's used these units to act as a peeler screen, that 1 standard pikeman. The standard pikeman is cheaper and it's less effective than the silver shield pikeman, so he wants to try and use these gold-headed pikemen to absorb the peeler from the enemy. So let's go and have a look at the enemy. So they've gone for 3 Roman factions. Now the Roman factions are really good to use when it comes to 31k. You know, they've got urban cohorts, and urban cohorts that are the best infantry unit that you can get on Rome Total War. So the 3 players we're going up against is KING-MARKUS from the King's clan. We've got Lac Jac, and we've also got a new player to the Rome Total War community of 31k, and I believe his name is spelt or pronounced Krateros. I believe this guy's a Greek player and is also a Greek general, but unfortunately when it comes to my Hellenistic history, I'm not that clued up, so I'm not entirely sure who that general would be. So I'll have a look at King Markus's build. Markus has gone for one general, which you can probably see somewhere lurking around here. There we go. He always brings an armored general when it comes to his builds. The armored general are great at just snagging units, chasing down archers, and really trying to disturb the enemy. So Markus is probably one of the best Roman Total War players that I'm aware of that uses this general to full ability. I've tried to use it several times before, but I end up losing my general. So it does involve a lot of micromanagement and a lot of skill. He's also gone for 4 archers, and the reason why he's gone for these archers, the archers will be devastating against the Seleucids, and also going to be devastating against my men because my guy's got no armour. And then he's gone for 1 legionary cohort. Oop, a bit of lag here. A legionary cohort here is going to help boost the morale of his units, and then he's gone for a bunch of urbans, followed by a sprinkling of Praetorian cav. Have a look at Lac Jac, very similar build, 6 Praetorian cav. He's gone for 11 urbans and then 3 archers. Again, the archers are there to shoot my units and also to shoot the Seleucids. And last but not least, we've got the new Greek player, Krateros, 6 Praetorian cav and 14 urbans. So let's see exactly what happens. Let's look at the opening gambit. Now, first things first, Markus is going to send his general, and this general is going to come charging in here. What this general is going to try and do is disturb our formation, try and chase down some of these archers, basically act like a human fly to be a pain in the arse. And what we need to try and do is try and ideally kill this general. Now that's easier said than done, because the general will have 2 hit points, and what that basically means, the general can afford to chase into units really without taking hardly any casualties. So look, he's charged in here, he's been caught by the Spartans. Now if that was any other unit of cav units, you know, that would have killed several horses there, but because it's the armoured general, he's only just lost 1 guy. Also bear in mind, we're trying to shoot this guy with our archers. I'm going to try and throw some heads at this guy, and really we're going to do absolutely no damage. So considering he's going to get a volley of half a dozen archers all shooting right into the back of this cav unit here, you can see all these arrows going right into the ground, and yet we've killed absolutely none of those units. And that is because of that hit count, the hit points. It's rare to see general units when it comes to CWB because not really that cost effective, but when it comes to 31k, when used correctly, they can be an absolute great unit to use. So what we've done at the moment, we've managed to put our armies together. It's really not difficult to see what our plan is. The Seleucid player is going to try and hold the enemy there. We're going to try and aggressively push forward with these Spartans. And I'm going to make sure my head hurlers, who have got absolutely no armour, you can have a look at them, just got a few tattoos, looking pretty badass with their heads attached to their waists, pretty epic little belts there of heads. They're going to run right behind these Spartans. Once we get into range, the Spartans are going to put their pikes down. Hopefully what TURK should do is take off guard mode and just crunch straight through all of these urbans right in front of him. He's going to have the support of all of my head hurlers. My head hurlers will be able to drop the morale of the enemy, frighten them and really destroy them with my heads. But what I need to do, I need to make sure that TURK plays aggressively and really charges in, because what TURK is going to do here, he's going to run forward, stop, run forward, stop, run forward, stop. Now the problem about that is that the enemy have got loads of archers. Look, they've got 4 archers here and 3 archers here. So the minute my guys get into range, they're going to absolutely decimate, they're going to chop up and absolutely gun down my head hurlers. Because again, my head hurlers have got no armoured stats hardly, they've only got bare chests, and unfortunately, you can be as hard as you want, get some full body tattoos, but unfortunately, an arrow to the chest, the tattoo is not going to really do much to defend against that. Anyway, in come the Spartans. You can see they're running, they're stopping, they're running, they're stopping, but really they need to go and really aggressively push forward, because these Spartans again have got some hit points, so they should be able to take a lot of damage of Pila. Unlike the brothers here in the Seleucids, these guys are really going to take a lot of damage on Pila, and they're going to take a lot of damage on arrow fire. So what the Seleucid player is going to do here is going to run his guys. He's not going to stop them like the Greek player. He's going to run them straight in, so they go right into these pikes. So here we go, in for a little phalanx charge here, right into their units. All of this arrows are coming straight into their faces, and I'm going to have a look now. I'm going to just chuck a bunch of peeler right into these phalanx guys. These guys have had enough. They thought, fuck this, I've been incinerated, I've been jabbed in the face with some peeler, I need to get out of here. So they're going to run away. As you can see, they're running off the battlefield. They were 120, they're now down to 38. Shows you how much damage this peelers can do. They're now going to throw in all of their pikes here, going to drop the pikes down, put guard mode on, and just really try and bide some time so all of these infantry units can't wrap around the side. So again, another phalanx unit's now routed. So the Seleucids have taken a lot of damage here. In the meantime, eventually the Spartans are now coming in, but really they're not playing aggressive enough. This should really be, I pause this for 2 seconds, these Spartans need to be down here. They need to be engaging into these infantry units, pushing forward, and that will give my infantry units, sorry, my head hurlers enough time to run in and start throwing their heads into this tight formation of urbans. Now, good move here by the Scipii army here. He's realised that I've got no infantry units, so what he should be able to do is wrap around the side here and potentially surround all of these Spartans. Now, as I said, I do have these 4 infantry units, these 4 chosen swordsmen. I'm going to put a war cry on here and try and boost their attack stats. Once I've got the war cry going, I'm going to send them aggressively into these urbans and just try and use them to tie up and stall these urbans, because I don't want these urbans coming around the side. I know that my chosen swordsmen really aren't too much of a match against all of these urbans. These urbans in a prolonged melee fight should be easily destroying my guys. But what I hopefully can do is just buy us a little bit of time, just like the Seleucid ally is doing here. He's buying us a little bit of time here. So I've got my head hurlers behind the pikes, as you can see, and they're throwing these heads. You can just about see them on your computer screen. These little black dots of heads going straight into these guys. These guys are down to 66, and they started off at 80 or 82, and you can just see, look, all of these little black peppers, these coconuts of doom, these heads just being thrown over the pikes right into these urbans. These urbans have been absolutely crushed by these heads. Don't ask me how the physics of that work. It's Rome total war. As you can see, the urbans are throwing peeler over. The Romans are using their archers, and they're shooting their archers straight into the faces of my guys. The Spartans have got their pikes down, but my guys are heroically standing right behind all of these Spartans, all these pike units here. Or we just try and pepper these enemy units with all these heads that have been thrown. A couple of these urbans are now starting to rout. Again, I've taken a lot of damage on my head hurlers, because my head hurlers are going to take a lot of damage when it comes to peeler and arrow fire. But hopefully, if I can just try and keep them right behind these Spartans, hopefully what will happen is the urbans will throw their peeler into these Spartans, and that will give me time just to get my units into range, because the range of these head hurlers is pretty low. As you can see, look, I'm just constantly peppering all of these guys, and by doing that, all of these units are now starting to rout. I've now got Spartans coming around the side to assist with my head chosen swordsmen. They're doing pretty well here. Now over here, it's going to pause this for 2 seconds. I had my charioteers now move them around to the flank here, move them behind the Scipii units. Now I can see that the Spartans are now getting the shit in order. They're now starting to aggressively push forward. What I can now do is time the chariot strike. This chariot strike, if I time this correctly, is a game-winning maneuver here. So here we go. In comes my chariots. In come the Spartans here now. In come my head hurlers. We're now starting to actually start a bit of a rout. Once this rout gets going, it's going to trigger a mass rout. If we trigger that mass rout, that's going to trigger a nice little victory. So there we go. We've killed a general of the enemy. In comes my chariots here. They've touched into these Praetorian cav. Praetorian cav are going to get absolutely diced up like mincemeat with my chariots. And in come the Spartans. In come my head hurlers. The head hurlers are close behind here. We're going to throw some heads into these units, and there we go. We've triggered a mass rout here. Just check out all of these urbans now starting to rout. Let's have a look at the Green Romans, the Bruti. They've now been decimated. These guys are now gone. Let's have a look at my little druids here. My druids are just chanting. I think that's worth a little photo there. In comes all my chariots here, so we destroyed, we've absolutely crumbled this wing here. The Bruti units will come back from this trigger event of this mass rout, but what we need to do now is send all of our Spartans, all of my charioteers and the cataphracts over to this flank here to try and kill Markus. Markus has done a great move here. He's really managed to destroy a lot of these Seleucid units. Again, the Seleucid units can't really do much against these urbans. They just can hold their ground, but in comes these cataphracts here. Heroic charge, in comes my charioteers here. The charioteers have got blood on the mind, they want to chop up these urbans, they want to get their own back, destroy these Scipii units, and the minute they get anywhere close, you'll see this 3, 2, 1. We're going to trigger another little mass rout here. Anytime now, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units are now all starting to mass rout, 7 units. And there we go, got my head hurlers in the mix of it, and you can see these little peppers, these black coconuts, footballs, American footballs, soccer balls, whatever you want to call them. You know, they're flying across the battlefield, they're hitting the enemy, they're dropping the morale. There's very little the Bruti and the Scipii can do now. It's just literally going to be a slaughter fest. All we're going to try and do is chase down these units. Markus is going to heroically send in his general for one last little charge here. He's going to take on these cataphracts. The cataphracts are going to pull out their mace. They're going to absolutely batter these general units. And there we go. They're gone. There's a couple of Bruti units left. My charioteers are just running havoc at the moment around the battlefield. They've got these big scythes on the sides of these chariots, and they're just going to chop up all of these Scipii units before they can get back to Rome. Again, we've got a couple of little archers here left in the mix of it. They're going to try and gun down a couple of my charioteers, but my charioteers got a couple of hit points, I believe. They're just going to drive straight head first into these guys. Carnage. Those guys have been chopped down. Their legs have been split in two. Bruti have now been rushed off the battlefield. And there we go. It was another little heroic victory. And I've got to quickly say, I do appreciate the last little battle that we put up. We did involve Markus, and unfortunately Markus got mass routed by literally myself, Babu and TURK. But Markus, you know, is a great Rome Total War player. There's very little that you can do when you get mass routed and you get attacked aggressively like we managed to do. Sometimes this tactic doesn't work. We've played a couple of games against Markus when he was allied against the Dutch player Exra, or the name that I can never pronounce, and they managed to beat us with our little tactic that we did today. But nevertheless, heroic victory for this battle. Really enjoyed every minute of that. I hope you guys enjoyed the replay just as much as we enjoyed actually playing it. It's really interesting to bring factions that you don't necessarily see on the channel. As I say, Britannia and the Greek combination, when used correctly, is usually a perfect match. Seleucids, again, Seleucids are pretty good. They're pretty hard to manoeuvre their pikes around the place. It's down to their cataphracts. If you get the cataphracts working correctly, they are a battle-winning unit, and that's exactly what Babu managed to do. In combination of my charioteers, my head hurlers, and Babu's cataphracts, that really got us the victory. If you have a look at the kill counts, I got in just shy of 900 kills, sorry, 1900 kills. TURK only got an 882 kills, and I say only. Realistically, when using the Spartans, you should be aiming to get at least 1,000 kills, and I think that really boils down to the fact that he wasn't playing aggressively as he possibly could have done with those Spartans. He can really afford to play aggressively because he's got gold stats. He doesn't need to play defensively. And I bet you the majority of those kills from the Seleucids came from those cataphracts when they came charging headfirst straight into the ranks of the urbans. Let's have a look at the enemy. Markus, nearly 1,229 kills. The majority of those kills would have come from chopping up those Seleucids pikes, because unfortunately those Seleucid pikes did nothing but just really bide his time so we could win our little flank on my side of the battlefield. Lac and the Krateros unfortunately got minimal kills, and that's just because of the mass routes that were triggered in that battle. Let's have a look at the kill counts, and again, look at my barbarian warlord. One of those nearly got 400 kills, and bear in mind there's only literally, I think there's 36 men in a chariot here, and 3 men in each chariot, I believe. So you're talking what, about 13 chariots. So 13 chariots managed to get 388 kills, which is absolutely incredible. Shows you how devastating they can be. And once you've got that trigger going, once you've got that mass rout going, with a charioteer, because they're so fast, they're so quick, they can keep the momentum going of that mass rout and make sure the enemy don't come back. Either way, folks, as I say, thank you so much for watching the replay. Thank you so much for showing your support and checking out my Rome Total War channel. If you want to show me a bit more support, don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a little comment. I love reading your comments, and I love any thumbs up or any little comments that you leave behind. If you're new to the channel and you want to check out more glorious battles like this, go check out my earlier stuff. I've got plenty of 31k battles, plenty of CWB games, plenty of campaigns, tips, tactics, tutorial videos, you name it, it's all on the channel for Rome Total War. Anyway folks, that's enough of me talking. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys soon for the next installment on Biscuits Total War. Thanks, and bye now.